I don't really give a rat's rear end what Joey Logano says. I don't give a rat's rear end what Ryan Blaney or anybody else says. When I walk into that team meeting and I'm wearing that wreath and I'm Austin Cindric, I got the W. I got the W. That's all that matters.
Quick wellness check on the racing community. It's the Tuesday after Talladega. How's everybody feeling? Hopefully, the hangover isn't hitting too hard because we've got some hot takes coming your way today. So get comfy. Kyle Petty's here to break down some of the action coming out of Sunday's race. And this is Social Speedway Tuesday. What's up, you guys? J Punch here. Welcome to NASCAR Daily. As mentioned, Kyle Petty's got hot takes. And coming out of Sunday's Jack Links 500, we have some hot topics to discuss. Austin Cindric gets the first Penske win of the season. To maybe many people's surprise, the first Penske teammate to find victory lane, and also ruffled a couple Penske teammate feathers along the way. Here's Kyle breaking down all the hot takes from the weekend. Kyle, always great to see you. Thanks for the time here today on a Tuesday.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. I'm excited. I hope you've got some opinions because coming out of Sunday's race, there's a couple topics of conversation. But before we get too detailed here, what did you think generally about Sunday's Jack Links 500 at Talladega?
I don't know. It was kind of a typical race without the big one. When you really go back and look at it, it's the way these guys race at Talladega. It's the way they race at Daytona. It's a speedway racing with this package at these racetracks, and that's what it's going to be. That's just what it's going to be. So I'm not. I'm being 100% honest. I'm not the biggest fan of this type of speedway racing. When they get out there and they run 4 or 5 wide, and then they start saving fuel and all this other stuff that goes into it. But that's the way they're forced to race. That's the way racing is today. And if you're a race fan, you got to take the good races with the not so good races. So all in all, though, I thought it was a decent race.
Well, Team Penske comes out on top on Sunday with Austin Cindric getting the first win of the season for that team. And although an exciting one overall for the team, a little bit of teammate frustration earlier in the run. We heard Joey Logano voice his opinions toward the end of stage 2. This is what Joey had to say watching how that second stage came to a close.
Way to go, Austin. Way to go, you way to go. What a stupid God. He just gave it to him. Gave a Toyota stage win. Nice job. Way to go. What the Put that in the book again. Put that in his freaking notes and text it to us.
Now, of course, the comedy comes in knowing that Austin goes on to ultimately win the race. But those remarks, to start with, do you think those are uncalled for to voice an opinion like that about a teammate mid-race?
No, it's not uncalled for. Listen. I understand the teammate concept, and I do. And I came along a long time before the teammate concept. The only argument that Felix Sabates and I ever got into was over a teammate when Kenny Wallace drove there. I made some comments. Felix didn't like it. And I stood up for what I believed, and he stood up for what he believed. You're going to vent about your teammates because guess what? When you drive for Penske, when you drive for Gibbs, when you drive for Hendrick, 3 of those other guys out there that you're trying to beat into submission are your teammates. You show up to race for you. You've got to be selfish as a driver. I don't think those comments are uncalled for at all. Here's the difference. Those same comments have been going on in this sport ever since we had teammates. The difference is we just didn't have access to it as the public. We didn't have it where we could play it back on a Monday morning and crucify Joey or crucify somebody on down the line, whoever it may be, for what they said. You're not sitting in that car at 130 or 40 degrees at 200 miles an hour with a helmet on in close quarters trying to win a race. And that's where they are, right on the edge. And they deserve to be able to make those comments and vent anytime they want to, whether it's their teammate or their mother, okay? Whoever they want to vent about, they should be able to vent about.
And that is one of the unique things about our sport compared to other professional sports,
Yes.
is the idea that when you go out there every weekend and you're competing for this win, this title, you're competing with and against the people that you work all week long, all season long alongside. How do you describe to somebody who isn't super familiar with that dynamic in NASCAR what that relationship is like with these guys that are essentially your teammates, but also closest competitors?
It's a crazy thing. I'm not sure that you have this in any other sport where you do this. maybe in tennis where you play doubles, maybe you got to play your doubles partners in a singles match at some point in time, and he was your teammate, and now you've got to beat him. Maybe some, but I don't think you have this in sport. And I like, Rick says he's one team, he just has four cars. And that's kind of the way you have to look at it. And as a driver, that's the way I have to look at it. I think that's the way the mentality. Yes, I drive for Roger Penske, and he has three or four cars, but I'm his number one driver. Every one of those drivers believe they're his number one driver. They're Roger's number one driver. And you've got to look after your team, Paul Wolf, your team. You've got to go out there and do it if you're Joey Logano. So I mean, it's a hard thing to balance. You beg for your teammates early in the race. You beg for your teammates to keep you up front, to put you in position. But I'm telling you, we've seen it 10 million times. It seems like every time we get to the last few laps at Daytona or Talladega, it's every man for himself. And how many times have we seen teammates wrecking teammates? Why? Because they want to win the race. They don't care whether you're their teammate, their brother, their uncle, their cousin, their mama, their sister. They don't care. They want to win the race. And I think that's part of Joey's mentality. Joey Logano is one of the fiercest competitors. When he slides that helmet on, he doesn't care who you are. He wants to win a race. And I think in that situation, when he vented, he saw somebody make a mistake, and he's going to vent about it.
And I think to your point there, really, it goes to see a lot of times where teammates often hold their teammates to a higher standard. And I have to wonder if that's because they know the ins and outs of what goes into the operation of putting that driver in that car out on the racetrack. And so they have that higher standard for the people that they work alongside.
Well, I think you hold your teammates to a higher standard because you depend on your teammates in that Tuesday morning meeting. And we heard Joey address that. Put that in your notes and text it to us. You know what I mean? When you want that guy to be spot on. You want that guy, if he's bringing something to that meeting, to be 100%. But if you don't depend on him and you can't depend on him, then you're wasting your time going to the meeting because you don't believe anything that guy says, because you watch him make mistakes or you watch him do things that you don't think live up to your standard. And you're right. It probably is a little bit of a higher standard. At the same time, you're all driving in the same equipment, so you know where that's at. You know where everything's at. The only difference between those three cars that come out of the Penske shop proper, and let's take Josh out of it, but those three cars that come out of the Penske shop proper, the only difference are the drivers and the crew chiefs. And I think that's part of the frustration sometimes.
If you saw the post-race media, you'll notice that Austin really enjoyed wearing that wreath. Understandably so, the one he was given in Victory Lane. I think he said he was going to wear it on the plane. And so you do paint kind of a funny picture there when you talk about the Tuesday morning team meeting. I have a mental image of them having to call back Joey's moment here and Austin sitting there in his winning wreath. Definitely probably an interesting conversation over at Penske this morning.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I will say this. I'll switch horses and say this. I don't really give a rat's rear end what Joey Logano says. I don't give a rat's rear end what Ryan Blaney or anybody else says. When I walk into that team meeting and I'm wearing that wreath and I'm Austin Cindric, I got the W. I got the W. That's all that matters. And that's the whole point. That is the whole point of the conversation as we started with Joey's soundbite, is to get the W, for yourself. And Austin Cindric did that. He got the W for himself. No matter what anybody else thinks, no matter what anybody else's opinion is, he won the race, and that's all that matters, because that's what it's going to say in the record book. In the record book, there's not going to be Talladega, Austin Cindric, comment, Joey Logano. That's not going to be in the record book. It's just going to be Austin Cindric with the W.
We're never going to remember that Toyota had that stage 1 win. We're never going to remember that when Austin parades around with that wreath around his neck. Kyle, you make great points. Your time is always appreciated, but even more so now because I know you personally are very busy this time of year getting ready for your charity ride. Tell me a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yes, so I'm in Traverse City, Michigan. We're getting ready to leave here this coming Saturday, May 3rd. We're going down to Detroit to the Henry Ford Museum, then to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I just saw where they released their class this year with Soundgarden and some of those people. Then we're going up to Niagara Falls, over to Watkins Glen, take a lap around the racetrack, down to Bedford, Pennsylvania, and then down to the Homestead. So this is our annual event. This is our 29th year that we've been doing this. We've raised over $22 million. We've seen over 130,000 kids at Victory Junction, and this is the major fundraiser for Victory Junction. So it all ties together. It all comes together this 1 week a year, and this is something that I look forward to every year. My wife definitely. I'm not sure she looks forward to it because she plans everything and works everything, and she's the one that's up in the room working real hard right now. But it's a week that I get to ride motorcycles, and I know because of that, with this group of people that ride with us, a lot of kids will be able to go to camp.
Kyle, for anybody who wants to follow along with this year's ride or maybe even get involved for future years, where could they find information?
So you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter or X or any other social media that comes out in the next week and a half because there's always something new out there. Or go to our Facebook, and you can follow us. Go to our website, kylepettycharityride.com. You'll find out where we're going to stop for fuel. Every fuel stop we have, we're going to be having fan events everywhere we go. We're looking so forward to it. My dad's going with us. Herschel Walker's with us. Rick Allen's with us. Kenny Strader, Kenny Wallace, Max Pappas, Rutledge Wood. Got a host of celebrities. Bill Davidson, great grandson of the founder of Harley Davidson. He's with us. So many people are with us, but a lot of great riders, and we meet a lot of great people along the way. A lot of NASCAR fans along the way. We're going to be talking about this Austin Cindric deal for a week or so. And then by the time we start to ride, we'll be talking about Texas. So I'm looking forward to it.
Got plenty to chat about on that charity ride. Have fun. I look forward to keeping up with you guys, and congratulations on all the hard work, both to you and your wife. I know it's a lot of work, but it's got to be an exciting accomplishment.
It is a great time, a great accomplishment. And it's easy for us to stand back and pat ourselves on the back and say, look what we did. But in the end, when you go to camp and you see those kids and you see the benefit of what goes on the road with these motorcycles, the beneficiary are these kids, and it's all about them. We are just the caretakers. We are just the people responsible for helping them go to camp. And that's all we have to do. It's them, those people, those kids do so much for us.
Kyle, thank you for all you do for this NASCAR racing community, and thank you for the hot takes as usual. They are always appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle, for the time and the takes, as always. And as mentioned, be sure to keep up with the Kyle Petty Charity Ride on all social medias, especially Facebook, to get all that information. Well, be sure you're keeping up with NASCAR Daily as well, because we've got more coming your way tomorrow on NASCAR's YouTube page. Go ahead and subscribe while you're over there. Or you can listen as a podcast or even watch on the NASCAR channel on Tubi. That's all I got for y'all today, though, here on Social Speedway Tuesday. Talk soon. Bye.